El día de hoy es nuestra segunda jornada de la Conferencia Internacional sobre Innovación Rural, Morelia 2023, y vamos a dar inicio con nuestra conferencista magistral del día de hoy, que es la doctora Ana Volga. Ella viene de la Universidad Estatal Agraria de Stavropol, en la Federación de Rusia. Ana es una economista agraria, sus líneas de investigación, su especialidad ha sido el análisis económico, el análisis financiero, el análisis de complejos agroindustriales, todo en el contexto de las zonas rurales de la Federación de Rusia, en particular en la zona del Cáucaso Norte, que es el granero de Rusia. Además, Ana es la decana de la Facultad de Turismo y Servicios Sociales de la misma universidad, donde realiza una interesantísima labor educativa en la formación de jóvenes interesados en el desarrollo rural sustentable desde el enfoque de turismo rural. También Ana es la responsable de la Oficina de Relaciones Internacionales de la universidad y está aquí porque la UNAM y la Universidad Estatal Agraria de Stavropol firmamos un convenio de colaboración y su visita obedece también a una serie de acuerdos para realizar investigación, docencia y extensión cultural juntos. Entonces, el Cáucaso Norte es una región muy interesante donde están desde la Universidad Estatal Agraria de Stavropol desarrollando propuestas de turismo rural y turismo y agroturismo, y ese es el tema del cual nos hablará la doctora Volga el día de hoy. Thank you very much, Anna, for staying with us today and for this presentation.
Thank you, Anna. Today, my presentation will be about rural agricultural tourism as innovative activity in rural areas. And we will see the case of Stavropol region. To understand the situation with rural and agritourism, it's necessary to start with understanding of high importance of rural area and Stavropol territory. In the structure of rural territories in Russian Federation, we can see that out of 1,712 million of hectares, only 22 of them is agricultural land, and half of them at quite with a high value. But the territory of the North Caucasus, where our region is located, is not large in volume, but very significant in terms of share of rural territories. And the most valuable from this North Caucasus is the Stavropol region. The Stavropol territory occupies a leading position in Russian Federation in the production of agricultural products. The total area of all districts is about only 11,400 hectares. And on the slide, you can see that our region takes 49% from the district, from all districts. And also, it's the biggest and the best in the biggest in the agricultural land in Russia. If we look on this slide, the total area of agricultural, we would like to emphasize the importance of the rural area for Stavropol territory. The top territories with the largest share of agriculture, you can see, for example, Stavropol, it's just 1.6% in all agricultural land, but for Stavropol region, it's 92.3%. And only then our neighbor Republic Kalmykia have the same situation with share of agricultural land in total area of the entitles. Sorry? And I can't move the presentation.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. No, it's not working now. No. Can you just move the slide? Oh, I can. Yes, thank you very much. The red point on the upper map, this is my region. And it's a federal subject of Russia, geographically located in North Caucasus region in South Russia, and administratively part of Caucasus Federal District. Stavropol is a large city and the capital of our region. It's bordered with also very important in agricultural sphere Krasnodar region and Rostov Oblast, and like we already saw, the Kalmyk Republic. And on the south, we have neighbors with all other Caucasus Republic, like we saw on the previous slides. The climate is temporarily continental. Winter are shorter and warmer than in most of other Russia, but still freezing and snowy. Average temperature in January down than -10, and in July the average temperature 25-22 degrees. If we speak about precipitation on the plain, it's 300-500 millimeters per year. In the foothills, they were bright blue territory on the map. It's over than 600 millimeters. At the present moment, Stavropol has population about 2,899,000 inhabitants, and the differences between and the share of urban and rural population, now we have like about 40% of rural population. And on the map you can see with different color the district of our region, and with a little bit green, this is 100% territory with rural population. The rest territory has small cities, like with a population less than average 40,000 citizens in it. But like I already said, most of the territory only villages and only rural population and rural territories. Okay, if we look at the economic of the region, the agriculture takes more than 10% all the time, the gross regional product in the market price. And it's a good situation now in 2021, we can see that it's growing. Before, the trend was not so good, and we were we see the decreasing of the value of agriculture, but now the situation better, and we hope that for 2022 we also receive the good share of gross regional products in agriculture. If we look at their population and in situation with rural area, unfortunately, the figures in 2022 shows us that the share of rural population also decreasing. From 2015 to 2022, maybe it's not like a big in percentage, but for the territory, for the region, for agricultural and enterprises and villages, it's quite painful, and the situation not stable, it's continue decreasing. And with the migration flow, we can see with the blue color, it's decline, the population in rural area declining, and growth, it's just a couple of districts, mostly big cities like Stavropol and the territory of Caucasus mineral water. I will speak more about this territory because it's the most popular tourist region with a lot of sanatorium and spring waters. And that's why it's like one of the best attractors, capital Stavropol and Caucasus mineral water. The rest region, unfortunately, with decline or with really, really small growth of a population. Also, you can see that this grows in the neighbors district to the main city. The outflow of population in urban agglomeration from farms has a deficit of personnel in agriculture. And we can see on the slide the number of employed in the economy from 2015 to 2021, and the region really growing, but the employed people in the agriculture decreasing. And in persons, it's pretty the same figures. And of course, the agricultural enterprises sometimes feel this deficit very strong. We decided to make some interview to realize why their people are really moving from villages to city in our region, and we make a survey in all our districts. And you can see the range from this district. Some of the, if we, how to say, know better the region, we understood that, for example, first region, Ipatovsky, and the last Petrovsky, it's a neighbor territory with pretty the same climate and pretty the same situation and quality of life, but the answers in interview really different. We wanted to know about the reason why they are moving from their villages somewhere to city or some other regions. And you can see the reasons in the table with the percentage, how much people answered positively with this reason. And the first one, it's not satisfied with the level of salary. 50% of citizens of the village say that they don't like the salary. And the second also reason, I can't get a job. They cannot find a job for some reason in the village. Also, we found a lot of, and you see the difference between 2017 and 2022. This survey was no condition for career growth. The answer growth 2 times. Quality of health care not became like worst. They are waiting for a better situation. Quality of education also, and so on. Only the problem with placement of children in kindergarten, better situation. But it's like opinion of citizen. It's not the fact if we look at the figures. And we decided to check. I will speak about only 2 reasons. For example, what's happening with the level of wages in the region. And we find out the average monthly wages by type of economic activity. You can see on the screen, for example, average in agriculture, 40,000 per month. When we can find the wholesales and retail trade, the most, a lot of people work in this sphere, only 35, even lower than in agriculture. And on the map, you can see that some regions have even bigger salary than average in the region. For example, Krasnogvardeyski, Sovietsky region, the salary higher than 50, higher than average in all region. And we'll look at the figures from January to November. The situation in agriculture even better. The average growth of salary on 5,000 rubles. For the region, it's quite good salary. For example, the average in the region 38, the average in region 45, like 7,000 rubles per month bigger. But still, we saw the answer that they're not happy with the wages. Of course, not all citizens of the village work in enterprises, in agricultural enterprises. In another area, maybe the salary really less. And if we look at ability of staff, I already speak that this migration from rural territory give us the deficit in agriculture. And we can see that from 2015 till 2022, in all district, we can see the lack of the deficit of personnel in agriculture, in crop production, and in livestock also, in both of them. And also we put on the map each region how much, how big the deficit right now in this period. Only a couple of regions with figure 0, the rest needs like 100 employees, 60 employees, and so on. It means that you can find job, but for some reason they not willing to have this job, or maybe not able to work in these enterprises. And of course, we have start thinking about the idea what to do with attractiveness of rural life for the people, and especially for people, because we have a research that working age population also moving from the rural very in very bad share, very low share. And one of the way we decide that it's diversification of activities in rural area. And for my department, the most important activity, I'm sorry, it's not moving again. The slide's not, Andrew, it's not working again, sorry. Okay, this is rural tourism. Because it helps to find maybe more attractive job, not like in agriculture, to develop the territory with infrastructure, to sometimes to earn money, not in the most busiest agricultural season, in other 6 months, for example. And we are doing also to help to make this diversification. We have in 2021 changes in our law. In federal law, it was establishing the ground for the development of rural tourism. We have definition in the law, and in our and this definition means that rural tourism, it's a visit to, just a visit, not spend, for example, one night, only visiting to rural area or small towns with a population of up to 30,000 people for recreation, familiarization with a traditional way of life, with activities of agricultural products, participation in some agricultural work without material gain, with possibility to receiving temporary accommodation, leisure excursion, and other services. And this is very important for us. If we have this definition in the law, it means we can ask for support from the government for such type of activities. And also we have a paragraph in the law that rural tourism possible only for agricultural producers, not for all citizens, but for people, for enterprises who really busy in agriculture. And those concepts of rural tourism exclude all tourist facility located in rural areas whose owner could not obtain the status of agricultural producers. But for these people, we have other ministry and other support, like Ministry of Tourism. For the rural tourism, in charge Ministry of Agriculture, because he's really take care about citizens and agricultural producers in the region. That's why they giving support to these agricultural producers only. And we have this special support from 2022. The name of the grant is agri-tourism, and the grant covers the implementation of project to develop rural and agri-tourism activity. The maximum amount is about 10 million. Yesterday I was trying to in peso, and it's about $10,000, I think, something like this. but with own funds. Then if your amount the biggest, like 10 million, you should also put your funds like 25% from the amount of the grant. And there you can spend this support not only for some, for example, infrastructure for tourism. You can buy animals, you can buy crops, you can buy machinery for your agriculture. It's support for agriculture producing, and tourism could be realized with some other activity funds, or even without maybe them. And the planned performance indicator for this state support, it's production and economic indicators, including the rural tourism. First KPI, it's that the production of agriculture should grow. And the second most important, that tourist flow. You should receive the tourists, even visitors, not people who stay over the night, but who just came to your enterprises for a small excursion for 1-2 hours. Also, of course, we expected in this grant, it's one of the indicators, that employee of this agri-tourism project will be from the village, not like bring from the city or from something, but from the village. And it's better to have agri-tourism activities 12 months, like all seasons, not only during the warm period. And we already have some examples, like I was promised. The first one, I put the winery, because it was the first who received this support. The person who has just this historical building from 1895, the region not really ancient. It's really modern region. Stavropol was found in 1777, and of course the villages after their main city, and most of them like after 1860. That's why they not like Teotihuacan, they very, very young. And we don't have ancient features or something. We have just very modern, let's say, like this. But he has historical building and very good, rent a good field with the grapes. And this grant he used for buying the equipment for winery. And he's not selling the wine, for example, in the shop with the wholesalers. He using the wine only for events like festivals, cheese and wine festivals, and for inviting people. He's not far from Caucasus mineral region. He has a lot of tourists. He inviting them for testing the wine. And all his profit only from this tourist activity, selling the wine through the tourists, not through the shops of somehow. And of course, he received the best price for his wine, even with a small volume. And the next very bright example without this support, but I cannot not speak about this because it was our first agri-tourism example. It was Bakhcha, and the name of the owner is Alexey Ponomarev. He growing eco products, watermelon. And in 2012, he decided to build just some interesting like pyramids. And people who was going on the first picture, you can see the road, who just was driving through the road. They stopped to see what is this, or some pyramids. Oh yes, and you can buy some watermelons. And he starts with just 10% of his volume of the product to selling from these points. And now 10 years, he's selling all his products from these points. And also he take payment from the visitors who would like to enter this point and to see what's happening. Each year he changing the tractors, and also now a lot of people work like to create the different activities. Each weekend you can go to have a disco forum or some football match or something like this. And it's now like the best example in our region how to use tourism as a marketing. He's not receiving a big profit from tourism, but he's selling his products through the tourism activities. And the price for his watermelon very high, higher than in any shop. But to have opportunity to try eco products, to spend the time in this place, people are paying, and he quite in a good position now with all his products. Next, maybe a little bit strange for the Caucasus, but normal for Russia. It's a deer farm. In Caucasus, it's a little bit cold for warm for them. It's a modern with opportunity to live near their these wild animals, to see their life, to see the production of pump. It is from their raga. I don't know. From their horns, yes, from their horns, they produce some like a medicine or some just addition to the food, and you became very healthy. But the most interesting that they gave job to people, to citizens near, and it's quite popular, very expensive rest, like a place just to live in their eco-natural sphere in the village. They have a very expensive restaurant, and you can try deer products, meat of the deer. And also the last one, it was a hobbit house. Hobbits are very famous in Russia. That's why for the kids, it's really, really fun to live in such house. Everything is very cute inside. And the price, for example, for one night, $200 one night during the week, not on weekends. On weekends, more expensive. It's expensive in Russia. It's like usual hotel will cost you 5,000, this to 20,000. It's 4 times more expensive than usual hotel. And it works. And this farm, like more than 1.5 hours from the main city, and from the tourist region also more than 2 hours, something about 2 hours driving. Very poor village was before, and now with these enterprises it's getting better because people has opportunity to work and to earn money. Also very strange for us, but now these enterprises has 3 branches. They opened second, and now they in the process of opening the third. It's alpaca farm, but they speak like they're just a park to relax. Of course, all kids from Stavropol asking their parents to get them to ferma of alpaca. You allowed to feed them, you allowed to touch them, and also you can buy products from the wool of these animals. It's like not really agricultural, but also in the village, in the very, very small village. And people could sell, for example, if some cheesemaker near, they could sell through this point their products, what they make in the village, eggs, cheese, milk, and something like this, because it's like it became like a neighbor market near this point. Also quite helpful. And now it's examples of already successful enterprises. But our university would like to make like a map of touristic activity in the rural region. I want to show this first. This is the map of my region, and you see the very important touristic points. And in my region, it's only near the Stavropol and near Caucasus mineral water. The rest territory is empty. And our task is to make this territory full of attractors and to make some special tourist track. And we look at the type of tourism which is possible to develop in my region, and all blue, it's really, really good for only agricultural tourism, because the other type really not so easy to build, and it takes a lot of money and maybe more support. But in the Caucasus mineral water, we have now more than 2.5 million tourists who came for very long a period of staying, like 10 days and more, because they have rehabilitation there, health care, and so on. And a lot of people, it's return tourists. They came each year to this territory. And of course, they already visit during weekend and after midday all territory from like excursion, what we already have in Stavropol, and they are really interesting in the new one. And we had like interview of this tourist, and we wrote the portrait. It was Irina Petrovna, 47 years, with her income, with where she's from. And she said, I want to go only 1-2 hours from the Caucasus mineral water to see something interesting. And we'll also look at the sphere of her interest. And the second was Sergei Petrovich, Ivanovich, doesn't matter, 54 years, also with his income, with his gender, hobbies, and he wants to go from 1 to 3 hours. And also the sphere of his tourist interest, we find out. And now we like ready to work with our enterprises to offer them idea of tourist activity in their farm. We had a project in cucumber farm to offer some activities and some touristic plan. We had activities and ideas with the pumpkin. This is very, very bright and nice project was, but now it's still like an idea, but not in the process to realize or to ask in support. And this is one of the biggest projects, Lukman Buffalo Farm. At present moment, we already has everything ready to apply for the support from the government. It's a European, Mediterranean buffalo. Yes, it's Mediterranean buffalo. And the idea of enterprises, of course, to produce milk and milk products from the buffalo, but we prepare them a very nice plan for tourist activities. And they really, enterprises now in the nearest future apply for the support, and we hope we will have a new really interesting attractors, tourist attractors, tourism company in Stavropol region. And one more different project, really different from the other, it's village, but it's no, in this village you will never find the small houses like 1 or 2 floor. It's really all of them more than 5 floors. Because this is special village near hydroelectric station. And this village win in 2019 their international competition to receive the artists from all over the world, and they painted on the wall of the buildings. And now we have 42 murals. One is Mexican, and I put in the middle. And also we now make the audio guide, and you allowed for 1-2 hours just to go for free to listen the history of each mural and to philosophy of each artist. Nice and pretty village with not a lot of citizens, and with possibility to have some food in the restaurant near their lake, and even to spend time fishing and something like this. And according to our law, because this is like a semi-village of a city, less than 30,000 inhabitants, and it's also we allow to supply for the support from Ministry of Tourism or from Ministry of Agriculture. This is really short about our ideas in my region. And also I wanted to say that we have projects, we have some support, but still we have a lot of barriers. And one of the main, in our opinion, it's really initiative residents of the village. They not believe in tourism and some other activities. They sometimes just want to go from village and don't stay. And we are working with this, showing them the good examples. Also, it's no knowledge about tourism and how you can earn from the tourism. Tourism could be just like tools of marketing, like in Ponomarevo company. It could be part of your activities and you can receive money from this activity. But unfortunately, no knowledge about this. Difficulties in project management. To apply for this support, it's really, really big quantity of different documents, like a business plan, like a risk management, like a promotional plan, and so on. And in the village, nobody knows how to do it. And it's also like a part of our job in university. We're trying to help. First to explain, after this educate, and third to make together with this project. And next barriers, that's no skills in hospitality management, because according to the law, only agricultural producers can do this tourist activity, but they have a lot of skills in agriculture and no skills in hospitality, and how take care with the tourists, they don't know. That's why it's also some kind of challenge, because tourists now, they're really waiting for good service, very high quality, and it's difficult to manage. And sometimes it's not developed infrastructure, but it's not like we don't have roads, we don't have buildings, no internet, we have it. But tourists waiting for something more exclusive and in more better quality or without. It's two different tourists. Someone wants to live in the forest without anything. Someone wants to live in 5-star hotel in the middle of the village. And this is also the case to improve for our rural territory. And the last barrier, I think it's difficult in cooperation, because already developed tourist society, like tour operators, tour agency, who create the tour, who bring the excursions and tourists to the region, and to make this agreement between village or this industry and this tourist society. This is also one of their big challenge, because all of them think that their job the main, and they need to receive the main profit from the tourists. And of course, it's also still their work we need to do. But about opportunities, I speak about a little bit during their speech, but maybe just like a conclusion, it's a government support. It's a really big opportunity. It's eco and natural resources, because in all rural areas, I think, have it. It's developed agriculture, because it's really, I think it's really interesting, and with the trends for eco and nice products, everybody wants to know what they're eating. And if you bring tourists just to show how you're growing the product, and it's really natural and it's really healthy, and the way how you produce it's really nice, it's also one of the promotional process. And these tourists go to their houses and start buying only your products after this. A very big opportunities at attractors in the region, Caucasus mineral water, because we now need to attract people from all over the world or from the rest of the Russia. We need just to go to the neighbor region, Caucasus mineral water, and to make a promotional advertising, and to attract these tourists first. And after this, already think about some other tourists. Cultural heritage, we have a lot of Caucasus people, we have I didn't say, we have more than 33 nations in the region with a population more than 2,000. It means that we have different ethnic culture, and we can show it to the people when they traveled in our region. And we hope that the big opportunities and university educational support in Stavropol State Agrarian University. If you have any questions, I'm really glad to answer. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ana, for your presentation. Very interesting. No sé si aquí en la sala haya alguna pregunta, algún comentario, o Adrián, si nos ayudas con los compañeros en línea o en YouTube.
Por el momento no hay preguntas en Zoom y en YouTube.
Ok. Yo creo que Ana nos ha presentado un enfoque un poco distinto al que tenemos nosotros aquí en lo que es turismo rural y agroturismo. Me parece que en particular su enfoque es fortalecer una actividad agrícola que se pueda traducir en un atractivo turístico. Creo que ese match todavía no lo tenemos tan claramente entendido aquí. Porque se matan dos pájaros de un tiro, ¿verdad? Se fortalece la actividad agrícola que se transforma en un atractivo y bueno, son dos ingresos que empiezan a coactuar dentro de un pequeño poblado rural. Entonces, claro, también nos habla de esta situación para algunas actividades está el Ministerio de Agricultura apoyando a los productores, pero para otras está el Ministerio de Turismo. Y que bueno, los productores o las áreas rurales tienen que navegar entre estas dos dependencias para obtener los apoyos, ¿no? Esta también creo que es una realidad un poco compartida con nosotros. Hay como también este ejemplo de los murales también me llamó la atención, porque fue en un poblado sin ningún tipo de característica, más que la que tener grandes edificios para los trabajadores de una planta hidroeléctrica, transformarla en un atractivo cultural que detone además una actividad turística, y es un poblado rural porque entendí que para ellos rural es menos de 30.000 habitantes. Entonces, pues son algunas cosas que creo que son interesantes para analizar y pues pensar en cómo nosotros estamos abordando las actividades de turismo rural, de turismo agrícola aquí en México. Entonces, I'm making some comments about your presentation. Very nice, Ana, because some very interesting point for our reality here in Mexico. And it's important. También algo importante es el involucramiento de la Universidad Estatal Agraria de Stavropol, en particular la facultad, en ayudar a los productores o a los pequeños poblados rurales a desarrollar proyectos profesionales de turismo empatados con sus actividades agrícolas. Creo que este involucramiento de la universidad también es un tema que deberíamos tomar mejor, más en serio, trabajando justo con la Secretaría de Desarrollo Rural y de Turismo juntos, quizás aquí en México. No sé si alguien tenga alguna pregunta en especial, puede ser en español y la traducimos, no hay problema.
Hay tres con mano levantada.
Muy bien, adelante Adrián, sí. We have three comments online.
¿Puedes abrir tu micrófono? Fernando Carrero, ¿puedes abrir tu micrófono, por favor, y hacer la pregunta?
Ok, perfecto, no, te escuchaba muy bajito. Sí, mi pregunta muy concreta es, agradeciendo la presentación, se mencionaron iniciativas individuales. ¿Hay alguna iniciativa de asociación, de asociatividad, para ir del agroturismo independiente pasar al agroturismo desde el modelo de turismo comunitario. Hay iniciativas de asociatividad. Gracias.
Gracias, Fernando. Fernando from Colombia. He said thank you very much for your presentation. And he's asking about your examples are only from individual initiatives, individual small enterprises. But what about the community-based initiatives? Do you have some example considering the organization at the village level?
Unfortunately, till now, we don't have really successful examples in tourism activity in the village level. And also, like I mentioned, the support goes only to agricultural producers, not to private house or to their to the villages, for example. That's why now it's also one of the questions. Maybe after my visit in Mexico, I really ask myself why we don't have this initiative. Maybe it will work, so we will see in the future.
Okay.
Sí, sí estuvo claro. Creo que justamente es uno de los temas que hemos conversado con nuestro colega Maxim Kiefer aquí. No está hoy porque está dando clases. Maxim is in class now. Pero ellos justamente tuvieron una reunión y uno de los puntos de interés en esta colaboración académica es, por un lado, cómo en el enfoque de agroturismo en Rusia, la dimensión económica es muy fuerte. Es decir, sí, muy lindo todo, pero necesita ser rentable. Y si hay que fortalecer la actividad agropecuaria como un atractivo para que sea un atractivo turístico, en las dos actividades debe haber rentabilidad. Ese es como algo que tenemos que aprender a hacer. Por el otro lado, nosotros en México somos muy fuertes y en América Latina, por supuesto, como en Colombia, muy fuertes. We are, in general, in Latin American countries, strong in collective initiative at the community level. Somos más fuertes en los aspectos comunitarios y de organización colectiva. Y Ana comenta que pues luego de su visita en México y de ver un poco, piensa que ellos también necesitarían fortalecer esta dimensión a nivel más comunitario. Y bueno, aquí tenemos algunas áreas de oportunidad para aprender mutuamente estas cosas. Bueno, si alguien está interesado, también Fernando, en Colombia, los colegas de Colombia, si están interesados en abrir una puerta de contacto con Ana y con la Universidad de Stavropol, es totalmente posible y es solo me dicen y con eso podemos empezar. I'm offering to the colleague in Colombia because they are very interested also in rural and agri-tourism to have contact with you, maybe to explore some agreements between Colombia and your university at Stavropol.
Gracias.
Okay.
Robert también tiene la mano levantada. Adelante, Robert, te escuchamos.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your presentations. It's very well done and it's very interesting for me. So I would like to ask if you can describe how is the rural areas in Russia through some economic or socioeconomic indicators. For example, here in Mexico, maybe you know that some rural areas is mainly associated to poverty or to difficult access to education or electricity or water or something like that. And maybe you can describe how it's in Russia. Thanks so much.
Yes, I had opportunity to visit a village in Mexico, and I see that quite big differences between situation like a quality of life in rural area in my region. I'm talking about Stavropol because it's also a little bit different in all area of Russia. But for example, all villages has gas because it's cold in the winter and they cooking and heating the houses with the gas. 99% has electricity, and also about 90% has water with a tube, not with a self-using, but with a tube. And usually villages, it's about the average citizens at 2,000. Of course, we have a smaller, but this is like average, and they have a school, sometimes 2 schools in the village. They have a clinic, not a hospital, but clinic, and each district, it was 26 on the map, has a hospital in the main village or in the main city in the district. That's really different from the Mexican situation.
Also about the enterprises and the agricultural jobs, because I think it's a very important difference.
Also, usually each village, it goes from Soviet Union, has very strong enterprises. Of course, each enterprise is different, someone really good, someone not, but these enterprises in charge of life in the village, and sometimes it helps to has a cultural program, has something like this, and gives the main job in the village, usually. This was a question. Yes, okay. Something like this. I answered. We have bank, we have bankomat, cash machine in the village, everything, market in the village. They quite.
What about the salary and the social protection with?
I said that, for example, if you are an employee of enterprises, you receive official salary. I was showing the map with the salary in different regions, but in agricultural enterprises, the average like 45,000 rubles. And you receive also, like addition, not in this, you don't pay from the salary, medicine insurance, social insurance, and pension when you retired after 65 years of working age, not working age.
No working age. Okay.
Está también Mauricio Soberanes, puedes abrir tu micrófono, te escuchamos. Mauricio, ¿nos escuchas?
Bueno.
Adelante, Mauricio, te escuchamos.
Gracias, no, pues felicitarle la exposición también muy interesante. Mi pregunta es cómo inició esta idea o esta línea de acción de turismo rural en Rusia. La experiencia que yo conocí en algunas zonas de Italia donde la producción agrícola pues resulta muy atractiva para el turismo, por el vino, por los aceites de oliva, etcétera, en donde claramente hay una oferta para los turistas para acercarse al medio rural y disfrutar de un fruto recién cortado, de un producto elaborado ahí mismo. Los italianos nos decían que ellos empezaron con una especie de declaración, de que juntaron a mucha gente que estaba con estas posibilidades, hicieron un manifiesto, una especie de manifiesto al que muchos se adhirieron. La pregunta es cómo inició este movimiento de turismo rural en Rusia.
Muchas gracias, Mauricio. He's Mauricio Soberanes. First, congratulations for the presentation. Very nice and very interesting. His question is about how was the beginning of this idea to strengthen the agricultural activities, to transform them in rural attractions? Because he knew some experiences in Italy, for example, and in some areas in Italy, they declare like idea, like a goal to strengthen agricultural activities and transform them in tourism activities. But how you start?
Very difficult. Thank you for the question. Really, really very difficult. Because, for example, my department, we are from 2012. really want to develop the agri-tourism in the rural territory. And it was our question to the ministry about support, about some government umbrella or something like this to start this initiative. But usually the answer was, we need to feed people. We don't care about any tourism in the rural area. And after some help, I can say like this, was from COVID. Because when people should stay at home all the time and in a big city, sitting in the flat size, like 35 square meters, it's really, really boring. And village really help. A lot of people send their children or move by themselves to the village, to their parents. And the idea of rural tourism became very strong. And straight after this, we received this addition in the law. And now agriculture ministry start thinking about development of rural territory. Also before we had something like strategy of sustainable rural development. And one of the point was to make the rural life more attractive. And a lot of people from science also decide that to make life in village more attractive, it's really easy through a tourism activity.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Ana. Pienso que tocó algunos puntos interesantes. Comenta que desde el año 2012 se abrió en la facultad el departamento y luego la facultad de turismo, y que para ese entonces el Ministerio de Agricultura no estaba para nada interesado en turismo, su prioridad era alimentar a la población y ya está. Pero un poco luego del COVID y de este encierro obligado que hubo en la población, pues el turismo rural empezó a como tener más espacio, incluso like a demand from the citizens also in urban areas, salir a conocer algo, moverse de las casas, y entonces también en la ley empezó a tener un lugar más importante, incluso para el soporte, pero además algo interesante que me parece que comenta es esto de el interés desde los instrumentos de política pública de hacer la vida rural más atractiva. No solo para los visitantes, pero también para los residentes. Y que el turismo es reconocido, el turismo rural, como una herramienta, una actividad que puede hacer a la vida rural más atractiva. Entonces ahí es donde empieza el interés más articulado, la política pública, los programas de gobierno, la universidad y los productores privados. Sí tienen un pendiente ahí con iniciativas colectivas, pero bueno, a lo mejor México puede contribuir en algo. Aquí tenemos Saraí.
Muchas felicidades. Hola, mucho gusto. No me quedó claro, pero escuché, bueno, es que no sé si escuché bien, deberíamos que solamente los productores agrícolas tienen como el permiso de realizar actividades de turismo rural y no está como abierta la posibilidad a cualquier ciudadano o ciudadana. ¿Sí?
Yo entendí que para recibir apoyos del Ministerio de Agricultura necesitan ser productores agrícolas. Si no lo son, tienen que gestionar ante el Ministerio de Turismo. Pero no es que no tengan permitido. Everybody is allowed to develop a rural activity, a tourist activity in rural area, but the support can differ.
Two different sources.
Yeah. If you are not agricultural producers, you go to Ministry of Tourism to asking the support and so on. If you agricultural producers, Ministry of Tourism not helping you because you're in charge of Ministry of Agriculture, just different budget and different KPI, let's say. Okay. Yeah, well.
Bueno, creo que ya estamos en tiempo para terminar esta conferencia. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, Ana.
Thank you.
Very nice presentation. And nos movemos entonces, gracias a los que están en línea, nos movemos entonces a la siguiente actividad, que es la mesa. En este caso va a estar conducida por la compañera de Colombia, María Camila. Entonces, María Camila, quedas a cargo.